Hello friends! I really enjoyed doing the garden tour with you, but I realized this morning when I woke up, I didn't show you more of my perennial type things that I grow, my orchard and my vineyard and things like that. So let's go check those out today and see how they're growing along. Come on. Okay, here we are at the orchard. I'm going to take you up here to the top of the orchard where I have my peach trees. If you can see, unfortunately, we don't have any peaches growing this year. They got bit by the frost. No peaches. But the tree is big and beautiful and healthy, and it's a great place to catch some shade. Here is my other peach tree. It's really sad. Now this is my the one we just saw was my white peach tree. This is my yellow peach tree, and as you can see, we've had lots of damage over the years, but in spite of that, it still tries to grow. And again, no fruit because of the frost this year, but it's still alive and I still have hope. But I've got lots of trimming to do because looky here. Do you notice can you see? Right here you can see side by side. This is a peach leaf. These are the peaches, but look right here. Those leaves aren't quite the same, are they? You know what they are? Mulberries, and there is one single mulberry left on there. The rest have all been eaten by the birds, but you know what? The birds actually planted the seeds for me because this doesn't belong here. This is just a wild mulberry that popped up and I did not get trimmed out. And it got pretty big pretty fast. We've had a lot of rain this year. And speaking of mulberry trees, I think we have at least one or two here. And they are, let's see if we can show you. Can you see? Let me see. It's hard to see doing this backwards. Can you see that? That's what a mulberry looks like when it first comes on before it changes color. But did you know, you look way up high. This isn't what's supposed to be here either. If you look deep in here, you can see yet again a different kind of leaf. This is a plum tree. I believe this was an Asian plum, and I had kind of given up on it. It's right next to the goat pen, and they kind of nibbled on it. And I thought it had kind of done its course. A lot of times along the fence line, a bunch of suckers will come up. And that's something about plum trees that I didn't know, that they are a lot like a blackberry, where they will shoot out roots under the ground and the suckers will come up out of the ground like that, rather than the base of the tree like a typical fruit tree will do. And so all the energy would always go into all these new trees, and I just gave up. I gave up trying to keep up with it all. And this year I was so excited. I don't know if it's still there. I think the storm got it last night, but I had one single plum growing and I was so excited. So I'm going to keep my eye on that and hope that in the future maybe I can weed out these wild mulberries and bring back my plum tree so that I can have plums, because we love plums here. My apple tree, it's a dwarf apple, and wow, I keep pruning back when I see several apples together. But my goodness, friends, look at this. It is absolutely loaded. Okay, so here's an example. Here we have two nice big apples and a little one. So we need to just take that one off and let it go so that the others can get bigger. Here's another one. I hate to get rid of the little babies, but they're just gonna take away from growth from larger fruit. And I know I should be even more aggressive than but I just don't have the heart. And this east side is absolutely loaded. And then over here on the west, we split off here. And here's my original tree. And I had a sapling come up, and I didn't have the heart at the time to pull it. I really should have, and I should have planted it somewhere else because it has become quite a nice little tree of its own. Oh. And here we are at my apricot tree. Oh, how I love this tree. I love it most because it came from a sweet friend. But unfortunately, I've yet to ever have any blooms or blossoms on it, and definitely, of course, no fruit. But as you can see by the coloring, it is beautiful and it is alive, and it seems to keep hanging on. But if you look above me, it's a lot taller. This is a native apricot that came as a sapling from a friend's farm that has had generations and generations of these apricot trees. Apricots are finicky here in northeast Kansas, so I don't expect a lot, but I really hope someday to at least get some blossoms. But it will grow very, very, very tall because it is not a dwarf variety. And then last, but certainly not least, is my beautiful cherry tree. It's a tart cherry. It's really kind of hard to grow sweet cherries here in northeast Kansas. I am at the end of the season here. You can see they're usually a much brighter color. This is a darker color cherry. It's starting to bruise. You can see there is some spots in it where different bugs have tried to take bites out of it. Let's see if we can find, ooh, here we go. Here, the peacocks say hi. Here's one, whoops. Here's a lighter, brighter one. They have tiny little seeds. So good. Oh, they make great jams and jellies and pies and all sorts of treats. Excellent for juices. Oh, I just love this cherry tree. And I don't know if you can see up in here, the last several years, it has just been abundant. I have picked and picked and picked off this tree, and there are still so many cherries to be picked. Guess I better grab the ladder and get to work. And now I welcome you to my vineyard. Isn't it beautiful? The grapes are just gorgeous. And look at this, friends. I am gonna have a great grape harvest again this year. I'll just kind of walk you along here and we'll peek inside, and you can see everywhere you look on this first row, there are grapes. Now, it's closer to fall when they'll be ready, at least August. So I'll keep an eye and watch. And hopefully we love to make grape juice. But look, even down here, towards the very bottom, there are grapes everywhere. And I didn't get to them in time. But looky. I have some raspberries that have survived somehow. Oh, that brings back so many memories, having that raspberry. I hope I got it on film. Let's see. There's a little piece I missed. My grandpa used to have them in his garden, and I remember going and picking them while working in the garden. And this spot here behind me, this grassy area, used to be my raspberry patch. I had red raspberries, golden raspberries, and black raspberries. And somehow I have just a couple of canes that somehow made it into the grape vineyard, the grape row, and survived. And I have not had the heart to kill them out because they are just, they're ready to be here. So they get to be here. So amongst the grapes, I do have a few random, it looks like the black raspberry canes. And you can see that last year's has propagated, and here is some canes that are new canes this year. This really isn't ideal to have this like this because it's kind of taken over this middle row between my two rows of grapes. That's not what I want, but they have had the will to live so much that I did not take them out. But my daughter had actually, a year or so ago, gone in and we had cleaned this out. Buddy Luke had cleaned it out first, and then she came back in and re-tarped it and then put mulch down. Unfortunately, my son and or husband who were mowing, when they would mow along the edge, would shoot grass in. Grass loves to grow anywhere on anything. But I still have my 3 rows of grapes. So that is a total of, it was at one time 6 plants, but we had a fire get out of control when we were burning off my asparagus patch. You've seen me do that in years past. My husband didn't know that grapes couldn't burn, that it was just the asparagus, so he let the whole thing go. The raspberries, most of them survived. The grapes luckily did too, and of course the raspberries they loved, or the asparagus loves it. Now this is my asparagus patch, and I've let it go to seed. I came in and I mowed it, and the middle area there is a little barren, and I'm afraid that I may have killed that off in that area, so I may have some replanting of crowns to do, but I'm going to let these go to seed and see if they'll do their thing. This area here, unfortunately, this took the most of the beating. I don't think we had quite as much mulch here, and you can see down deep there is the mulch, but it just didn't, the mower, see, the wind had kind of blown it off. And you can see here on the corner that we have the weed barrier down first and then the mulch, but the wind had moved it enough where unfortunately this got taken over. So this is going to be a project we'll have to work on another time, probably another year even. But you see I have my poles in, and this is supposed to be where the thornless blackberries are supposed to be in this area, but I never could get enough water to them, so they died out. And then here on the east side of the asparagus, you can see I was hoping one day to bring back my blueberries. They got mowed off. That's okay. That's what happens sometimes when you get help and children are learning everything and they didn't know it was a plant. But I had, I don't know, 4 or 6 blueberry plants along there, bushes, and someday I hope to get that back. Thank you so much for coming along with me on my perennial garden tour. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to be able to bring you some really great ideas and recipes in the future. If this is something you enjoyed and would like to see as it progresses and as things grow, let me know down below. I would love to bring you back if that's something you'd enjoy.